Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, how Palestinian women are becoming an increasing fixture in protests as Israelis and Palestinians confront another cycle of violence. Also, we go to Iran, where despite some freedoms, women still lack certain basic rights. And a French campaign to get more female voices heard in the media. But we begin in the Middle East, where a new wave of violence is sweeping across Israel and the Palestinian territories, with Palestinians taking to the streets and clashing with Israeli security forces. And for the first time, Palestinian women are very much a visible presence in those protests, as Oliver Ferry reports.
Keffiyehs over their faces, stones in their hands. Palestinian women are increasingly occupying a place on the front line of anti-Israeli protests.
We will continue repeating Allah Akbar, God is great.
Since the start of the current crisis, numerous Palestinian women have taken to the streets. This girl marched away by Israeli troops.
So you always strong-arm women, do you?
In Gaza, female students demonstrated, loudly proclaiming their new role in the Palestinian struggle.
It's not only men that can fight. Women want to take part too. Not just with words and stones, but with knives and weapons too.
Some have carried out attacks in recent days, like this one with a knife close to the Western Wall in Jerusalem. In the northern Israeli town of Afula, a woman here in green brandishes a knife at a bus station. She is surrounded by police who demand she drop her weapon before firing several shots in her leg. Still conscious, she is then taken from the scene to hospital. For Israeli authorities, these women are terrorists just like any other. But on the Palestinian side, they are being welcomed as a vital part of the latest street battles.
To Iran now, where rights for women have changed dramatically over the years, enabling them to make career gains in ways few of their neighbouring counterparts can. Yet Iranian women still have a long way to go. Just to give you an idea, while they're permitted to drive and move around with relative freedom, they still require the permission of their husbands to leave the country. Sanam Shantier takes a look at a nation laced with contradictions.
It's picture perfect for these students posing for their end-of-year photo, and the image isn't far from reality. Today, more Iranian women graduate from universities than men, and for these young faces, it's just the beginning. What would you like to become?
A translator.
A writer.
A linguist.
Unlike their counterparts in Saudi Arabia, these women have a strong chance of entering the job market. They can even work alongside men. And it's not just education that they have access to. Iranian women won the right to vote in 1963, and they can even get behind the wheel, not just to drive, but professionally.
Hello, good morning. My name is Minu Sheikhan, and I'm living in Tehran, and I'm driving this car. This is the women's taxi in Iran.
From taxis to trucks, defying societal norms, Fatima Morimi managed to get her license to drive a truck. Within years, she founded a leading trucking company with several women in the midst of the drivers. And for that, she's been given a stamp of approval.
I'm sure that they approve the way that we have. Otherwise, they could make a rule that stops our business.
While Iranian women also occupy political posts, they are underrepresented. As it stands, only 9 out of 290 members of the country's parliament are women, 3 of them vice presidents. On the whole, and although there are disproportionately fewer of them in executive roles, Iranian women who are already part of the workforce feel that change is at hand.
There are traditional preconceptions about Iranian women, but our situation is changing, we're evolving, and there is no stopping us.
Meanwhile, Iranian women still need their husbands' approval for divorce and travel. Another restriction that they face in the eyes of the West is the hijab. By law, Iranian women have to cover their hair, and they've done so since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. For some, the hijab has become a fashion statement, while others try and push the boundaries.
Is it better like this? Yes, but it's better without it.
I display my personal views by having my hijab like this.
Despite obstacles, Iranian women continue to make significant strides in society. With 1 out of 3 marriages in the capital, Tehran, ending in divorce, there are signs that Iranian women are less afraid to break against traditions in search of a better life.
Nestled in a theatre in London, Mazi Mass is a restaurant that serves delicious fare from all over the world. Yet there's something particularly unique about this new eatery. All of its chefs are exclusively women, and they've all recently arrived in the UK as either migrants or refugees. And as this report shows, the restaurant is doing much more than merely whetting people's appetites.
Mazi Mass, a socially conscious restaurant where the chefs are women from migrant communities. Founded in 2012, the restaurant takes its name from the Greek phrase Elate nafate Mazi Mass, or come eat with us. The goal? To create a platform for these women to exhibit their culinary skills.
Confidence, I learn a lot of different dish. I meet a lot of amazing friends, people come from different countries.
Azeb is Ethiopian. She's working here to adapt her skills to the commercial restaurant industry. One day she wants to open her own coffee shop. And she's not alone. Over 3 years, many of her co-workers have left the kitchen of Mazi Mass to become entrepreneurs. Demand is high. There are some 40 women on the waiting list.
We also see ourselves as a political voice. We want to campaign for the rights of refugees, for the acknowledgement of their existence, but also of their benefit to society, be it just on a purely economic base, but also obviously on a very cultural base, especially here in London, where every other person is not from here. You can see multiculturalism is incredible.
On the menu, dishes from Iran, Ethiopia, Senegal and more. The essential ingredients, enthusiasm and compassion.
When I came to the UK, I found it very difficult being an immigrant especially, because you have no connections with people in the country, no network of other people. Mazi Mass was the bridge that really takes me from being totally isolated or not belonging to put me in a world of work and other people and opportunities.
The restaurant itself is tucked away in a London theatre, which means the space is rent-free. Mazi Mass has already inspired an offshoot in Sydney, Australia. Its founders are also looking to expand to Berlin and France's food capital, Lyon.
And finally, another step forward for women in media with the launch of experts.eu. It's a French website that puts media outlets in touch with female specialists. Now, with surveys constantly showing here in France that only 1 out of 5 TV or radio guests are women, the push is on in getting more of them to share their expertise on air, as Julia Kim reports.
The round tables of France's many talk shows and debates, filled with experts ready to give their 2 cents on the issues of the day. However, the country's media regulatory body, the CSA, has carried out several studies which show that not enough of these seats are filled by women.
In France, as well as other countries, figures of authority, knowledge and competence are naturally masculine. So the conventions need to change in television, and when it concerns a legal, artistic, political or economic topic, we should think to invite women to speak too, because there are many qualified to do so.
In French television, only 20% of industry experts invited to speak on air are women. This figure is 17% on radio and just 15% in print. And the numbers aren't really changing. When women are called, they're often confined to stereotypical roles.
When they need to explain a global issue, they take a man. If there's an earthquake or a tectonic plate activity, it's a man who explains what's going on. And when it's to tell us that the hospitals are overwhelmed or that the people are unhappy, it's the women.
A contradiction in a country where 2/3 of university graduates are women. Equal rights activists point to a tendency amongst women to engage in self-censorship, possibly for fear of being seen as too ambitious.
When women need to express themselves, when they need to take risks, they're not as used to doing it with an air of legitimacy.
For those who dread being in the public eye, there are courses. Miriam Maestroni is a CEO. And in the space of a day, she's learning the techniques of communicating with authority to journalists.
Being able to express myself and get across my point of view and expertise has become a real strength. It takes work, though it's sometimes overlooked because we concentrate more on the content than on the form.
To make female expertise more accessible, activists have created a free website, experts.eu, which has assembled 1,200 profiles of women specializing in over 200 fields.
Now there's no excuse. They can't say, oh, we can't find any female specialists. Those on the site have signed a charter saying if I'm contacted by the media, I agree to go on TV, print or radio, so I'd say that all the tools are available, so go for it.
The French media are obligated to account for the presence of women on air every year. And those who aren't doing their bit to put right the gender imbalance will have to answer to the nation's media regulatory body.
And that's it for now. And if you'd like to comment on what you've just seen, you can head to our Facebook page. That's France24 51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far, and please keep those comments coming in. Until our next program, bye for now.